Okay, so moving on to a couple of other topics. So one topic that came up last week was, how to up your game in agility. If you've been plateauing at, like, you're at the master's level and you do pretty well, and or that you're kind of new to trialing and you want to up your game so that you're less nervous, or that, I don't know, you feel more confident when you're running, or that you have an easier time memorizing courses, whatever it is. Um, the best way I know how to up my game, and it's how I up my own game, and it's in particular when I switched from doing only NADAC to doing all the venues. And within 6 months of switching, I went to the regionals, the Western regionals of UKI, and shockingly, Takoda won his class, which is pretty crazy given that we had just been doing international handling for 6 months and everybody else had been doing it for years and years. They were on their second and third dog doing it. The reason Takoda won is because I think, well, first he had the skills, right? You have to have a trained dog and reasonably good handler. But the main reason is when I decided to do that competition, I researched online, I found videos from the year prior, and I just watched all these different dogs in his hike group running the courses. And so I was also getting a sense of what the competition is like how good teams are. And so looking at them all, I'm like, oh my God, this is how good they were a year ago. Well, a year later, they are going to be far better. And oh my goodness, I'm just going to go and have fun, because there's no way we are going to do well in this pool of dogs and teams. So I also found old maps and I studied the maps and I drew lines on them. I closed my eyes, I memorized maps, I envisioned running the maps, I memorized geometry, I would handle, my invisible dog and my invisible course by moving my feet and all that stuff, until I had a feel for what these courses would be for me to run with my dog. And as a result, I did really well. I mean, I made mistakes that I knew I would make, but here's what's really funny is the teams that did well the last year, they were actually not better. They were the same a year later, and that's why we won. I thought I was going to be competing against people at that higher level. So that was shocking. And I think that's because you can hit plateaus where you do more and more and more of the same that got you to where you are, the plateau. But in order to move up, you need to do something different. And I think the one thing people are reluctant to do is stuff that feels like work. Like, it's fun to go out and practice handling, right? It's fun to go to trials. It's fun to train your dog. But it doesn't perhaps feel fun to study a course map and to draw lines on it and really understand where your dog is going to land, where that correction stride is going to take your dog, what your dog is going to be seeing. And I mean, that's the level, as you've seen me do on these course analysis videos, that's the level I get into. And then once you've figured out, okay, this is exactly my dog's path, this is a realistic but good path, then you pick your handling plan, then you memorize the course by picking sections and closing your eyes and going 1, 2, 3, 4, switch, and you do all that. And then get with your feet on the floor and your hands and close your eyes and move in space where it's going to be like, go on, Takoda, pop, pop, turn, you're doing all the stuff. So by the time I reached that competition, I had run all the courses that those other teams had run the year before in my head. And your brain doesn't know if you actually did the thing you're envisioning or you're just envisioning it. So I actually ran the previous year's courses and practiced memorizing courses, practiced thinking through what handling moves I would do on those courses. I just did my homework, and as a result, I think I had a bit of an edge. So even with the mistakes I made, we came out on top, which was, again, really shocking. So there's my big tip on upping your next game is, and it doesn't mean you have to do this, but if you've been at the same level, whatever level you're at, for a year and nothing much is changing, then I would suggest throwing something new into the pot, whether it's if there's a training glitch that, gets you every time that you have to babysit, work on that in a different way. If you tend to forget courses, work on map memorization in your mind's eye with paper maps. Whatever your issue is, work on it in a new way. And if you have any things that you would like feedback on, post them in our Facebook group, and I'll give you my ideas of how I would solve that, how I would reach the next level in terms of that particular issue. So there you have it. And the one other thing, unless, I'm going to have to check if there were questions. So Sandra, you're writing, great idea. I struggle remembering courses and have a hard time looking at a map and envisioning how I would handle it. But I can see that practicing that over and over will help. Yeah. And, being able to draw lines will help you see the geometry of course. So you're not going to be memorizing 21 obstacles. You're going to be memorizing, 4 or 5 geometric shapes with connecting lines between them. So you'll be envisioning, there's a big, loop to the left, then there's a straight line, then there's a turn to the left again. It's going to be a pinwheel. It's going to come back down. And now it's going to be a right turn, then coming at me, and then doing a serpentine. Like, you'll name all those things in your mind's eye. And I mean, if I'm at a big competition, I make sure I've got that course so well memorized in my mind that I can just close my eyes and envision the entire course. And often there'll be one little area I'll forget over and over and over, so that I'll focus on that area, to the point where, I've created like a little trick in my mind for how to remember that one spot that I keep forgetting. And then it's rock solid. So that also gives you confidence in your ability to memorize the course, if you lack confidence in that. But yeah, it's like one of those luminosity games, right? That you're just training your brain to memorize geometry, because that's all courses are, is geometry. So don't think so much obstacles, but more think path, like what the shape of the path is. Let's see, what other things?